All right, good afternoon. Welcome back here to Trader Money. Great to have you aboard. Kind of just kind of a nonsense day in the market overall. Not a lot of volume, not a lot of big moves. There are a few things that are news driven here and there, but relatively little out there. It's one where we can look at things and say, well, okay, you know what, something has pulled back a little bit. Is it worth a buy? We see a few things like a Boeing, try to pop up early, but, really not holding on. Some things that have sold off that haven't held the sell-off at all, like a Halliburton, right? And we're just seeing that across the board. And, I don't think we're going to be, I don't think today is going to be one of those days where you're talking, well, if there was something, very significant about today that led to A, B, or C. And we're seeing that. There are no new signals here for the challenge. So have two positions on the board, Microsoft and Walmart. Microsoft up about 20 cents, kind of sitting here all day, give or take 20 cents here or there. But pretty much a nonsense day for Microsoft. You'll notice the volume. There's very little volume here for it. So if we come in, the option value for Microsoft here is 370. So, the stock has gone up for us a little bit, 138.35 to 139.92. But we've really not made anything on the option. The trade theta, has kicked in, right? There have been, we've been in it now 3-4 days. So, that has kicked in. We have seen the implied volatility tick down a point as well. And then we have Walmart, which is, up about $100 here. Again, the stock is up about $1.60. But, we haven't gotten into that 2 ATR range here with it, as well, to where we can see some real appreciation here with the option. Now, Walmart has fallen a little bit here, down about 70 cents right here, where it sits right now, but, nothing significant in terms of the action there. If we go look across, the Targets of the world, the Pepsis of the world, we're just seeing pretty similar action, here across them. So, I'm not going to make any changes here for the challenge. We are on time stops here for them, the auto exit red dates. So, if the trades were losses, then I'd be having to take them off. But they aren't, so going to hold them here. I did debate, all right, do I just pull them, wait for the next signal, get into, something that's, better option, better movement? And, with no new signals on the board here today and looking at, where a lot of things are with earnings and everything else, I said, holding these, there's risk, obviously, but there's not a ton of risk. It's not game-changing for the challenge. Now, speaking of the challenge, I did want to answer one question that Michelle forwarded over to me that had to do with the challenge in a hypothetical scenario. Right, and I don't talk about the hypotheticals all that much. It's okay. What are we doing? But it asked about what do we do if the challenge were to draw down a little, draw down into the $1,000 to $1,200 area. Now, since we've run the automated challenge, we've not seen that. We've not had to deal with anything like that. I'm not expecting we'll have to deal with it this time. But if we do, we know exactly how we're going to handle it because in the 3 years of data and testing that we did, we dealt with the situation several times. And very easy. Basically, what we'll do is if the challenge starts to get down to about the $1,400 mark, right? That's when we'll just kind of go to one trade, right? Just all right. We'll trade the next signal and go. Once it gets back up over 2,000, we'll split into two trades, right? And what that does is, it gives us the chance to really run about 3 trades fully to work to really kind of get back, right? And that's what we would do. Obviously, it will happen at some point in the future. Hopefully not this challenge, but it'll probably happen in a future challenge where we get to that point. But that's how we would run that. That's how we would manage that here. So it's not very difficult. Not very, it's not a lot of rocket science there, but That is the path that we will go if that happens or when that happens, here in the future. Okay, but for now, holding on to Walmart, holding on to Microsoft. A lot of these things out there today. I think you're just looking and going, okay. Do you make much out of IBM right here? Well, if you really liked IBM's move last week, there's a really nice spot to buy it, right? You buy it off the 7-day moving average, use 7-day moving average as your stop point, right? If it breaks on down below that 7, you move on out. So some really just simple risk reward scenario setups on some of these pullbacks. The option values have gotten cheaper for a lot of these, because we are seeing the VIX still push on down here today. So even stocks like IBM, whose stock is falling, we're also seeing some of the implied volatility on the options falling, which we don't see very often, but that tells you what the market's looking at going forward. It's expecting less volatility rather than more, and that tends to be bullish. We'll see how that plays on out here. We do have earnings season up and coming here in a big way. So tomorrow, as far as catalyst and what's going on, we do have some economic data, but nothing too dramatic. And I'm not even sure the market really cares too much about the data. Here overall, we will have some inflation data out of China tonight. So the market will probably be on that a little bit. And then we'll have the Empire State Manufacturing tomorrow, German zoo survey, which is probably going to be pretty ugly here overnight. Those are going to be coming out. And then as far as earnings season and the earnings calendar here, it's here today, nothing. We go into tomorrow, and we start to get tomorrow morning J.P. Morgan, Johnson & Johnson, United Healthcare, Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, right? The bank block, with UNH and Johnson & Johnson, a couple healthcares thrown in there. So we're earnings season kicking off here tomorrow. Then Netflix, IBM, Bank of America on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, Philip Morris, Morgan Stanley, PPG, UNP, Honeywell. So we're getting a good group of earnings here this week. Mostly banks, but we'll get a little bit of look into healthcare, into transports, with an airline, with a railroad. So just that kind of typical light start. But then as we get into next week, they're going to start coming in fast and furious. Starting Wednesday, 102 earnings on next Wednesday, 149 next Thursday, and then that'll lead into the big couple weeks here, the end of October and beginning of November, where we have the meat of earnings season during that time. All right. Thanks for hopping on. Have yourselves a great evening, and we'll talk to you tomorrow morning. Take care.